What if the most powerful lesson in human connection wasn't from some dense philosophy text, but was actually taught by a fictional father to his young daughter? And what if that changed how we think about empathy forever?
Mm.
We're doing a deep dive today into To Kill a Mockingbird, looking at the sources you sent over to really get the essential insights quickly.
Right. And to do that, you first have to picture the world Harper Lee creates. We're talking Depression era, Alabama, Macomb County.
Yeah.
It's got this palpable atmosphere, doesn't it? The heat, the
Yeah.
really rigid social layers,
Definitely.
and that whole immersive setting with all those hierarchies and tensions just simmering below the surface. It becomes this perfect stage for these, well, universal moral fights.
Okay, so let's unpack maybe the biggest lesson, the one that kind of defines the whole story, this empathy revolution idea.
Yeah.
Atticus Finch gives Scout this principle,
Yeah.
the one she spends a whole book wrestling with. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view.
Until you climb into his skin and walk around in it.
Right.
That exact phrasing.
That's the one.
And that's, I mean, genuinely revolutionary advice, especially for that time and place, the Deep South in the 30s.
Why revolutionary, though? Seems like good advice anytime.
Well, it goes way beyond just being tolerant, you see. Atticus isn't just asking her to feel sorry for someone. He's asking for this radical act of imagination
Okay.
to actually try and inhabit someone else's reality. And what's interesting is how the book shows just how hard that is, you know, when you're dealing with someone like Boo Radley, who's shut away, or the Yules, who are just steeped in prejudice.
That line, climb inside of his skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stays with you. It feels like the benchmark everyone in the book gets measured against eventually.
Exactly. And if empathy is the main lesson Atticus is teaching, what about when innocence itself is just deliberately targeted?
Ah, right. That leads us straight to the second big theme, the moral core, really, the sin against innocence.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Maudie gives Scout that famous metaphor, doesn't she? Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy.
They don't eat up people's gardens, don't nest in corn cribs.
That's why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird.
Yeah. And look, this is more than just like a nice symbol. The mockingbird stands for anyone or anything that only brings beauty or peace. They cause no harm.
Okay.
And in the story, the symbolism becomes the absolute tragic heart of Tom Robinson's situation.
Because he literally couldn't have done what they accused him of.
Precisely. He's a clear symbol of innocence in that context. But the town's prejudice, it just crushes him anyway. His fate really becomes the ultimate test of Macomb's collective soul. You know, it shows that destroying innocence is maybe the deepest sin.
And this is where the social fabric just tears apart, isn't it? Theme 3. Conscience versus community.
Right.
Atticus defending Tom Robinson. He knew it was basically hopeless in court, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he had this impossible choice.
He did. It was his social standing, maybe even his family's safety, pitted against his own moral compass, his integrity.
And he makes that incredible statement in court.
Yeah, the rallying cry for individual courage. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience.
Mm.
And Scout, through her young eyes, she witnesses this clash, this collision between her father's deep personal conviction and just the overwhelming force of the community's prejudice and cowardice.
She sees that being right doesn't mean you win.
Not at all. And she realizes fast that being morally right doesn't automatically lead to justice, certainly not within that system. It forces this really rapid, quite painful loss of her childhood innocence.
So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for us reading it now? The journey these characters take, Scout learning, Atticus standing firm, they offer these deep, enduring lessons, right? About human nature, how we form our identity, the struggle for justice.
Absolutely. It keeps the book so relevant, especially in, today's conversations about social justice.
Definitely.
But it also leaves us with a pretty challenging thought, maybe something for you to chew on. Given that relevance, how does Atticus's very strong focus on individual moral conscience, which, let's be honest, is often seen through a white, somewhat privileged lens in the story, how does that challenge or maybe even complicate our modern efforts to achieve collective justice, true, broad societal understanding?
That's a really interesting question to end on. Does individual conscience sometimes get in the way of collective progress?
Something to think about.